afternoon to be standing out here. But before we begin, I just want to say how thrilled I am and excited to see so many of our local officials gathered together, not only to support our community, but also to support the arts. I want to welcome Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle, Senator Tom Butler, Representative Parker Moore, Representative Anthony Daniels, Madison County Commission Chairman Dale Strong, Huntsville Manager of Urban and Long Range Planning Dennis Madsen, Huntsville Business Relations Manager Harrison Diamond, Allison Dillon-Jochen from Arts Huntsville, and Lynn Berry, our representative from the Alabama State Council on the Arts, and also Madison City Councilwoman Connie Spears, who serves on our committee. Thank you all for joining us to show your support for this exciting announcement. We also want to extend our gratitude to our honorary chairman, that's Mayor Loretta Spencer, Reba and Jim Rogers, Catherine Lester, and Patricia Ferrier-Kelly for all of your encouragement and support during the planning process for this project. And we certainly want to recognize the members of the Fantasy family who are here today. Thank you for your many years of supporting the magic at Fantasy Playhouse. Since launching in 1961, Fantasy has entertained over 500,000 people throughout our region. They attract audiences and students from 41 counties in the state of Alabama and 23 counties in Tennessee. And many of you know Fantasy for their main stage productions. But what you may not be as familiar with is Fantasy's educational programming. In addition to award-winning live theater for children, the Playhouse also offers classes, camps, workshops, and educational outreach through after-school theater classes and in-school touring shows. Since 2014, Fantasy has experienced over 415% growth, and they are quite literally busting at the seams, and that's why we're here today. In fact, prior to the beginning of the pandemic in March, they had already served over 27,000 people, and they were on target to break records for enrollment and attendance in their classes, workshops, and performances. Now, to set the stage for the next act in Fantasy's community impact, I'm pleased to welcome Karen Mockenstrom, the Executive Director of Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater.
Thank you, Jennifer. The Fantasy family appreciates all you do to support our mission. Fantasy Playhouse is about storytelling. The story of the land we are standing on began as the ancestral homelands of the Muskogee people. The story of this land continues with the recent growth in this area, thanks to a focus by the city, Second Mile Development, the Cornerstone Initiative, and the incredibly hard work of the residents of Terry Heights and Hillendale neighborhoods. With our announcement today, Fantasy Playhouse will step into the next act of the story of this land. We're ready to tell our neighbors' stories, our own stories, and most importantly, the stories of tomorrow's leaders. Fantasy Playhouse has purchased the 5.5 acres of land you are standing on at this very moment. It is on this land that we plan to develop a new home for Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater and Academy. The regeneration of this property will transform this land into a shining 35,000 square foot theater, arts campus, and performing venue, bringing all of Fantasy's arts education and live children's theater production programming under one roof. Please join me now, Fantasy and Junior, as we drop the curtain and put a spotlight on the future. Looking pretty good. We dream big at Fantasy. Our community is the reason we do what we do. The new Fantasy Playhouse campus will be a high-profile, fully accessible arts and culture destination for families, building on our organization's amazing legacy and providing the exact theater arts education programming opportunities that families relocating to our region expect for their children. We are excited to have here today a true champion of the arts and families, Mayor Tommy Battle. With an early commitment of $2 million towards this project, the City of Huntsville is leading the way for fundraising that will turn this dream into a reality. Mayor Battle.
Thank you, Karen, and to Karen and the entire family, fantasy family, congratulations. Thank you for the job that you're doing right here. I'm glad that you mentioned the $2 million because on the way over I was saying, Harrison, how much did we pledge for this? Karen will keep us in line on that. But over a 10-year period, the City of Huntsville will be investing $200,000 a year. And what we're doing here is we're setting the place for some great planning. Our plan is for Holmes Avenue to be one of the major corridors in the City of Huntsville. And that major corridor will be anchored by Research Park on one end, by 5 Points on the other. But it will also be anchored, have some midpoint anchors. Midpoint anchor will be UAH, and the other midpoint anchor will be Fantasy Playhouse sitting right here. When you look at this as a plan for a city and what it does for a city, it has offerings. It offers things that other cities can't offer to you. It offers an investment into the arts, and it talks about the arts that will attract people here. And over the next 5 years, that's going to be our job, is attracting people to the City of Huntsville who can fill the jobs that we've already brought to this area. Fantasy Playhouse does that for us. So to the whole team at Fantasy, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing because you're making Huntsville a better place. But also thank you for promoting the arts because the arts add so much to our area of engineers and scientists and people people who are going to the moon and to Mars and other places. The arts bring that creativity to us that is so necessary for us to continue to grow. So Karen, thank you, and thank the whole Fantasy team. We're looking forward to some great things from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Battle. None of this would be possible without your administration and your early investors, being early investors in this project. As Karen mentioned, community is the reason that Fantasy exists, and it's with the community's help we're going to bring this dream to fruition. We would like to thank some of the early investors who got behind us when we pitched this idea. Please join me in thanking Torch Technologies, the Daniel Foundation, the Alabama State Council on the Arts, Facebook, the Kiwanis Club of Huntsville Foundation, PPG, and several private donors, and of course the City of Huntsville for their early support of this project. We invite all of you to join the cast and crew of the Fantasy Story. You can visit the website fantasyplayhouse.org/spotlight on the future to learn more about how you can be a part of this project. You know, 2020 has been a very interesting year to say the least, but now it's time to shine a spotlight on the future.
Close us out today, we're going to bring up Fantasy and Fantasy Junior to do what they do best.
60 years ago, we said let the magic begin. 3, and say let the magic continue. And Mayor Battle, of course, will join us. Ready? All right?
1, 2,